Let's explore a safe way to transcend expectations with meditation. This morning's lesson is drawn from a good-hearted question found on Reddit, beginning with the title, Letting Go of Expectations with Meditation. I'm pretty much a beginner to meditation. I'm 17 years old, and I did it for a year consecutively in 2021, which was a very long time ago, and stopped for a long time because of exams. I feel lost and detached from myself, so I decided to get back into it. I used Headspace guided meditations for a long time, and they usually concentrated on certain feelings and emotions. How can I meditate in such a way that will help me let go of the expectations I have for others and myself? Let us begin with broad brushstrokes before venturing into the weeds of fine details. Sometimes, with the best of intentions and the utmost of enthusiasm, we can set ourselves up for defeat. There are some dangerous preconceptions that have popped up in the metaphysical landscape over the past 25 centuries. Many people forget that or simply do not know, or simply were not taught, that in the second to the final passage of the Satipatthana Discourse, the Buddha explained that full enlightenment could be accomplished in as little as 7 years, or 7 quarters, or 7 months, or 7 fortnights, or 7 weeks, or even 7 days. If something can be accomplished in 7 days, it's got to be simple and easy and rational and doable. However, there are a lot of misconceptions have made it seem more difficult. Their teachers are telling us to transcend our biological nature and then act surprised when we can't do it, and then tell us, well, it'll take us multiple lifetimes. All things that the Buddha never taught. There is a biological nature to desire and aversion. Contrary to the ravings of poopheads who call themselves great thinkers, we do not have emotions because we believe in a real or imagined sense of self. Everything in biology distills down to evolution, which distills further down into random copying errors and natural selection. We evolved an aversion to peril, pain, scorn, and anonymity because those things are counterproductive to survival and procreation. We evolved a great craving for safety, plenty, pleasure, praise, and importance because those things serve survival and procreation. It's just that simple. Animals without the biological capacity for self-talk exhibit the same drives. These drives are not because of stinking thinking, they're not because of expectations, they're not because of belief. Belief is a form of a metaphysical shortcut that leads to a dead end. We cannot believe our way to nirvana. We do not believe our way into suffering. If belief was all powerful, then there could be no snipers who fire on unarmed, unsuspecting people, often convinced of their own safety. And yet they can still be felled by a sniper's bullet, which of course proves that, or at least demonstrates that belief is not all powerful. What stands between us and peace is not our desires and aversions. It is our circumstances. It is the stresses we endure circumstantially and physically and interpersonally and mentally, and what we do with them. The difference between the enlightened and the unenlightened is not what they feel. It is what they do with what they feel. And that's a huge difference. 100 years before the Buddha, in China, Lao Tzu composed the 81 poems of the Tao Te Ching. He taught of yin, he taught of yang. He taught the difference of the two, and most importantly, he taught to always choose yin. Despite the ravings of stupid white people, Lao Tzu always taught to choose yin. What have yin and yang to do with Buddhism? In Buddhism, the yang tendencies are typically thought of as, or can be thought of as, the attributes of Devadatta, the Buddha's real or imagined wicked cousin. The attributes of being rigid, fearful, suspicious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. Specifically, being rigid and controlling and elitist. Our job is not to rigidly or controllingly choose our emotions or to tell other people to do so. In Buddhism, yin can be described as Gautama's attributes of being flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. Specifically, being flexible and laid back and egalitarian. The Buddha did not teach that enlightenment is for special people at a special time and a special place, but that it's for anybody, anytime, anywhere, and that it's easily accomplished. Not by controlling our mind, but by being laid back. Not by being rigid, but by being flexible. Now, this is all very vague, so let's get specific. Oh, this is weird. Oh, I think I know what's going on here. Let's go like this. Okay. So in Mahayana Buddhism, actually, in Buddhism generally, there's the idea of bringing the 5 mental poisons into the path of awareness and letting go. Now, ironically, a lot of people think that cravings are wrong. If I just hate them enough, I'll chase them away. But that is really not how it works. It is good to crave oxygen. It is good to crave water. It is good to crave safety and health and healthy relationships. There's nothing wrong with them. It's okay to hate peril. It's okay to hate genocide. It's okay to hate illness. It's okay to hate murder. The thing is not what do we feel, but what do we do with what we feel. So what we're going to do is give ourselves permission to live in harmony with our autonomic nervous system. This is the key to enlightenment. Every time we breathe in, thanks to the sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the thoracic region of our spinal cord, we are wired to notice. We are wired to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. We could notice perceptions, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. None of these in and of themselves are good or bad. They simply are. If something causes us pain, it's because it's probably bad for us. If something causes us pleasure in certain circumstances, it's probably good for us, or at least our species. That's how evolution works. So we do not experience pain because of perceptions or belief in a self. We experience pain because we're subjected to something that's harmful. And because we're not control freaks, we understand that we are not in control of everything, every time, everywhere. We are not in control of every circumstance. We're not in control of every body. We're not in control of every relationship. We're not in control of every mind. So understanding this, we can be like a surfer. A surfer knows they cannot control the ocean, no less the wave they're on, but they can cooperate with it in an enjoyable way. And so we can surf the present moment. I'm very grateful to the late Chagdud Tulku, who explained that the 5 wisdoms are not the antidotes to the 5 poisons. Au contraire. For instance, when we notice hate, we notice aversion, we do not apply the mirror-like wisdom and instantly the hate is gone. That's not how it works. Well, then how does it work? Simply this. As we breathe in, we can notice our shoving impulses when they spontaneously come up. As we exhale, thanks to our parasympathetic nervous system ensconced within both our lower lumbar region of our spinal cord as well as the tippy top of our brainstem, we're able to physically relax and mentally release in harmony with our exhalation. When we do that, when we notice hate during the in-breath, when we relax during our exhalation, what happens is that hate that we noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel a little bit less defining, a little bit less controlling. Now, all complex life forms on this planet have evolved to think symbolically. So let's use symbolic language right now. Every time we relax into our exhalation, whatever hate we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void. Any good English teacher will remind us that a simile must be relatable. So what is a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? How about the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although is tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand. So, as we relax into our exhalation, as whatever hate we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less graspable. That graspability might only be momentary. That's fine. Hating is not a poison that must be banished. It's just something that happens. What are we going to do with it? Are we going to allow hate to treat us like a marionette? Treat our choices and our utterances and our deeds like a puppet? Or do we slice through hate through the simple practice of noticing it as we breathe in and relaxing as we breathe out? So something really interesting happens when we play with these 5 mental poisons in circuit. They seem less controlling. So, for instance, if someone punches us in the nose, our problem is not that we expected to go through the day free from assault. The problem is that someone assaulted our body, and our brain lives in our body, and our mind lives in our brain, and we are wired to protect this body and brain and mind problem is there's always going to be some stress. There's always going to be something we can't control. What separates the men from the boys, what separates the women from the girls, is not the ability to experience pain, but what they do with that pain. By bringing pain into the path of awareness and release, we are traversing the path, the Buddha's Eightfold Path. So we'll go into this in greater detail after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each sect of Buddhism so that you would not have to. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. Let us revisit the practice text titled Easy Meditation. Whether we call it Satipasati Dhyana Mahamudra Chan, Proto-Zen, Mahasanti, Ati Yoga, Dzogchen, or Trekcho, it's all just mindfulness and meditation. No, it's not our job to actively concentrate upon our breath. Well, then what do we do with our breath? We treat our breath the way a piano student treats their metronome. When we notice our body breathing in, we can silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, which makes the perception and mindfulness effortless. And when we notice our body breathing out, we can silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease, which makes the relaxation and release of meditation much more doable. So every time we breathe in, we're wired to perceive vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. We never feel as vulnerable as when we're naked. Perhaps that is why this meditational archetype is depicted as naked as well. Let's practice. So I'd like to practice this for approximately 16 rounds, pretending that a round is simply one inhalation followed by one exhalation. So what I like to do is count 16 rounds on the sets of creases and tips found on each finger of my left hand, while advancing the tip of my left thumb during each inhalation. If you wish, you're welcome to follow along with me. Let's practice with this ease. If you go to a gym, someone will teach you about sets and reps. We can count reps or rounds on our left hand. If you want, you can count sets of 16 rounds on your right hand. You don't have to, but I find it fun. However, although I lifted my hand from the camera, it's most ergonomically sound to rest our palms in our lap. Every time we breathe in, whether we know it or not, we are wired to generate a vertical traction between our tush and our head. So as we breathe in, let us try to sit with such impeccable posture as to delight our grandmother. So let's jump around in the text for a bit. Let us pretend that a one-syllable description of the area below our navel could be described as a womb, regardless of our gender. For early in fetal development, we all began as females. During our inhalation, let us silently and mentally recite the noun womb. During our exhalation, let us silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb is. As we breathe in, let us silently and mentally recite the one-syllable color green. As we exhale, let us relax. Our job is not to actively visualize, but to simply play with these words in harmony with our breathing. As we breathe in, we can silently and mentally recite the one-syllable mantra, which is the one-syllable mantra of real or imagined Amago Siddhi. As we relax into our exhalation, the dynamism of our wind element can begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable, as real or imagined Amo Ga Siddhi Buddha, comprised only of light. And now we can rest our mind. We can return to this ease. we can label the region behind our navel as gut. And as we relax into our exhalation, whatever gut we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a real or imagined Ratnasambhava Buddha comprised only of gold light. As we breathe in, we could silently and mentally recite gold. As we exhale, we can silently and mentally recite ease. During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the one-syllable mantra or bija known as Tram. And as we exhale, we can relax into the recitation of the one-syllable verb ease. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever stability or earth element we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel substantially less defining. Let us label our chest, our heart region. As we breathe in, as we relax into our exhalation, we could find ourselves releasing whatever chest we might have noticed during our previous inhalation. As we breathe in, we can silently and mentally recite blue, and as we exhale, we can silently and mentally recite ease, which reminds us to let go. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever moisture or water element we might have experienced during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable, as real or imagined Buddha Akshobhya, comprised only of sapphire-colored light. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever one-syllable mantra or hum we might have noticed during our inhalation could feel less defining. And now let us return to the spontaneous awareness and release. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever throat we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable, as real or imagined Buddha Ratnasambhava comprised only of ruby-colored light. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever red we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less graspable. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever warmth or fire element we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less graspable. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever one syllable or seed mantra, free, we might have noticed during our inhalation could feel as non-graspable, as real or imagined Buddha Ratnasambhava comprised only of ruby-colored light. And now let us rest our mind. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever crown of our head we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as real or imagined Buddha Vairochana, comprised only of diamond-colored light. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever color or white we might have noticed during our inhalation could feel less defining. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever openness or spaciousness we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less defining. As we relax into our exhalation, the one-syllable Om could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable, as real or imagined Buddha Vairochana, comprised only of white-colored light. And now, excuse me, let us relax into awareness and letting go. Let us bring the four bases of mindfulness into the path of awareness and letting go. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever body we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable, as a real or imagined archetype of enlightenment, comprised only of light. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever circumstances we could see around us or on the news could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable, as a real or imagined Buddha's paradise or Pure Land or Vati, comprised only of light. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever experience of the interpersonal, typified by communication, both verbal and nonverbal, that we experience, could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a real or imagined mantra comprised only of light. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever awareness, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, or imaginings we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as if they were as non-graspable, as a Buddha's mind symbolized by a one-syllable mantra comprised only of light. And now let us relax into awareness and letting go. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever body or form we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel less defining. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever pleasure or pain we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less tangible. As we relax into our exhalation, however we have appraised or rated the pleasure or pain we experienced during previously, that appraisal, that rating of volume or intensity could feel less defining. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever survival impulse or drive you might have noticed in response to that appraisal of our pleasure or pain could feel less controlling. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever perception, emotion, intention, thought, memory, or imagining we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less defining. Let us relax into awareness and letting go. And now we return to one of the things we mentioned in the opening lesson, the bringing of the 5 mental poisons into the path of awareness and letting go. So what makes a poison is not its presence, but its control over us. We all have moments, so as we relax into our exhalation, whatever dullness or befuddlement we might have experienced during our previous inhalation could begin to feel less defining. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever competitiveness or jealousy we might have experienced during our previous inhalation could feel less defining. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever craving or longing or desire we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less defining. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever pride or selfishness we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less defining. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever hatred or aversion or annoyance or fear we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less defining. And now let us rest in spontaneous awareness and release. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever sensations we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if they were as non-graspable as a vast empty void. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever flavors we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel less graspable. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever sounds we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel as if they were as non-graspable as a vast empty void. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever sense we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less defining. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever sight we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less defining. And now let us relax into spontaneous awareness and letting go. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever imaginings we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less graspable. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever memories we might have recalled during our previous inhalation could begin to feel less defining. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever thoughts we might have, whatever thoughts we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less defining. As we relax into our next exhalation, whatever intentions we might have noticed during our previous inhalation could feel less defining. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever emotions we might have felt during our previous inhalation could feel less defining. As we relax into our exhalation, all minds of all beings can begin to feel as if they were as non-graspable, as a Buddha's enlightened mind symbolized by a one-syllable mantra comprised only of light. As we relax into our exhalation, all communication of all beings can begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable, as a Buddha's love, symbolized by a mantra comprised only of light. As we relax into our exhalation, each form of each being could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable, as the healthy, blissful, as healthy, blissful health depicted as a Buddhist archetype comprised only of light. As we relax into our exhalation, each circumstance of each being could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable, as a Buddha's real or imagined fortunate paradise comprised only of light. As we relax into our exhalation, it could feel like all circumstances of all beings blissfully melting into rainbow light that could melt, that were delightfully absorbing into our form. As we relax into our exhalation, it could feel like all forms of all beings blissfully melting into rainbow light that delightfully absorbed into this speech. As we relax into our exhalation, it could feel like all speech of all beings blissfully melted into rainbow light that delightfully absorbed into this mind. As we relax into our exhalation, it could feel like all minds of all beings blissfully melted into rainbow light that now delightfully absorbed into vast open space. Let's seal this morning's practice by percussively chanting the Heart of Wisdom Sutra. It is in that Avalokiteshvara and the type of compassion and letting go, while moving in the deep peace of the perfect understanding of awareness and release. Shed light on the 5 aggregates and found them to be equally non-graspable as a vast empty void. After this realization, he made peace with all pain. Listen, Sharipudra, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Form does not differ from emptiness, emptiness does not differ from form. The same is true with feeling, appraisal, impulse, and awareness. Listen, Sharipudra, all phenomena are marked with emptiness. There is no production nor destruction that once perceived cannot be released. There is no corruption nor purification that once perceived cannot be released. No increasing nor decreasing that once perceived cannot be released. Therefore in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no appraisal, no impulse and no awareness that once perceived cannot be released. No sensation, no flavor, no scent, no sound, no sight, no phenomena that once perceived cannot be released. No body, no tongue, no nose, no ears, no eyes, no mind that once perceived cannot be released. No feeling, no tasting, no smelling, no hearing, no seeing, no noticing that once perceived cannot be released. No interdependent origins and no extinction of them from confusion to aging and death that once perceived cannot be released. No stress, no confusion, no liberation, no path, no understanding, and no attainment that once perceived cannot be released. Because there is no attainment that once perceived cannot be released, the Bodhisattva archetypes of awareness and letting go supported by the perfection of understanding, find no obstacles for the minds that once perceived cannot be released. Having no obstacles that once perceived cannot be released, they transcend the tyranny of fear, liberating themselves forever from the tyranny of illusion and realizing perfect nirvana. All Buddhas of the past, present, and future, thanks to this perfect understanding of noticing and releasing, arrive at full right and universal enlightenment. Therefore, one should know that this perfect understanding of noticing and releasing is like a great mantra, is like an unequaled mantra, the destroyer of the tyranny of all suffering, the incorruptible truth. A mantra of prajna paramita's perfect wisdom of awareness and release could therefore be proclaimed. This is the mantra gate gate para samgate bodhiswaha. Gone completely, and perfectly gone to enlightenment, may it be so. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10 1/4 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.